poured a bubbling, oddly colored liquid into her hot, charcoal-colored cauldron as the brisk wind rushed into her large, dimly lit cave. Her purple, starry hat fell in front of her eyes, blocking her vision and causing her to spill the liquid. Black, Echo said to herself. She examined the cave for something to clean the sticky mess with. "What are you looking for?" Echo heard a voice say. Surprised, Echo jumped. She turned around and looked at who it was. "Oh, hi, Zarya," she exclaimed. "What are you doing here?" She looked at Zarya and noticed that her orange-as-a-pumpkin hair was frizzy and sticking up. She also noticed that Zarya's black dress and pointy hat were covered in dirt. "And where were you?" Zarya answered, "Well, I was headed out to scare some people when I realized that scaring people is more fun when there's a ghost involved. You're my best ghost friend, so I figured that you would be a great person to tag along." Echo replied, "I'm not just a ghost. I'm also a wizard, you know. Blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares about wizards. Ghosts are cool and scary. So, are you going to come and help me out for once or not?" Zarya said. Yeah, I guess I'll come," Echo mumbled. At the dark, creepy park, they met up with two other friends, Cackle and Stormy. Once she noticed Echo and Zarya, Cackle asked with a smile on her face, "So, what's our plan, Zarya?" "Well," Zarya began, "first I'm going to walk around and start talking to random people in creepy voices. Then Echo is going to take off her weird wizard hat." But Echo started to say, "You have to stick to my plan. There's no way around it," Zarya continued. "Echo, you are going to take off your hat so that you will be completely invisible to people. Then you will move stuff around in the air. Cackle. Once she starts to move stuff around, you need to start cackling really loudly. Then Stormy will make a ton of thunder and lightning to scare all the people and cause the dogs to start barking like crazy. Do you all understand?" They all replied, "Yes." Echo reluctantly took off her hat, not wanting to make Zarya mad, and hid it behind a tall-as-a-skyscraper tree. The leaves on the tree were as red as fire. She could hear Zarya's loud voice talking to people. Echo walked past a picnic table, noticing a toy on the ground beside it. She picked it up and made it swirl in the air. She threw it, making the loud noise of it crashing down on the ground catch some people's attention. She picked up another toy and moved it around. She started to draw in the sand with a stick. Everybody was getting confused. They knew that the wind couldn't draw, and there wasn't any wind flying past anyway. Cackle started cackling as loudly as a giant yelling. She threw her arms up in the air with the fast wind that Stormy had just started blowing in her dark, straight hair, signaling that Stormy should start making lightning. People screamed, dogs barked, and Zarya laughed. "Good job, everybody." "Everybody ran away from the park. We exceeded," exclaimed Zarya. "I'm going home now," Echo let her friends know. Cackle replied, "You can't leave now. The party's just getting started." Echo simply said, "Bye," and walked off. Echo stepped into her chilly cave. "I'm tired," she thought to herself. She snuggled up in her bed in a dark corner of her cave and pulled her warm, furry blankets over her body. She drifted off to sleep. As the sunlight poured into her cave, Echo slowly woke up. Instead of getting up to make breakfast, Echo decided to just sit in bed and relax for a little while. While she was relaxing, some memories creeped into her head. She remembered the day that Zarya yelled at her for making a tiny mistake in one of Zarya's plans to scare people. She remembered that time that Cackle laughed at her for making potions. She remembered the time that Stormy created a big storm in her cave, which broke most of her stuff, just for fun. Tears started to leak out of Echo's eyes when she thought about how her friends treated her. She didn't like being treated that way. Those people were supposed to be her friends, but they sure didn't act like her friends. "I need to stand up for her myself," Echo decided. She got up and was about to make some breakfast when she heard a knock at the door. She opened the door and saw Cackle and Stormy right in front of her. "Hi, Echo. Is Zarya here yet? She invited us over to your cave to talk about improving our scariness or something," said Stormy. Echo looked at her confused. She replied, "Wait, I didn't know you guys were coming over. I was just about to eat breakfast. Why didn't she invite you to her house?" "Look, she just didn't," Cackle answered. "Does it really matter?" "Fine," Echo told her. "Just sit down on the couch, I guess." They all sat on the dark, red, comfy couch silently. Nobody had anything to say. Knock, knock, they heard. Echo went to the door. "Hi, Zarya," Echo said. "Hi," answered Zarya. They went back to where the rest of the group was, and Zarya immediately started talking. "Okay, everybody," she started. "We're all pretty scary, but we're not scary enough. If we don't hurry up and fix this, people could stop being scared of us and start actually liking us." Echo thought, "I would like it if people started liking me," but she was too worried about what Zarya would do to say that out loud. Zarya continued, "That is why we need to step up our game. I made direction sheets for each of us to use to become scarier. Each sheet is personalized for each of our powers." She handed a sheet to each person in the room. "Work on everything on your list for the next few days, and when I see you again, you'd better know how to do everything I listed on there." Immediately she left, causing Cackle and Stormy to follow her out. A few hours later, the clock struck 2. Echo was back in her bed, reading over the sheet that Zarya gave her. She thought, "I don't really want to be scarier. I don't even like scaring people. It makes me feel guilty whenever I see their worried faces. On the other hand, I don't want to make Zarya, Cackle, and Stormy upset. Who knows what they'll do to me? I don't know what to do." She continued to read her sheet. After reading it over and over again, she began to get bored. She decided to go out to the park. Echo straightened her hat and headed out the door. When she finally got to the park, she noticed another ghost across the field. She ran over to where the ghost was standing. "Hi, I'm Echo. What's your name?" Echo introduced herself. "Oh, hi," the other ghost exclaimed. "My name's Misty. How are you doing?" Echo answered, "Okay, I guess." They talked for a little while, and suddenly Echo heard herself explaining her dilemma about her friends. "I don't think you should let them push you around. I mean, if you don't like scaring people, then you shouldn't have to." "I'd have to agree with you about scaring people. Being ghosts doesn't mean we have to love to scare," Misty replied. "Yeah, thanks for helping me out," Echo answered. Misty offered, "Anytime." Echo started to walk home. Misty's right, she thought. I shouldn't let Zarya, Cackle, and Stormy make me scare people when I don't want to. Tomorrow I'll go to Zarya's house and tell her that I don't want to scare people anymore. Once she got inside her cave, Echo went straight to her bed and straight to sleep. In the bright lights of the morning, Echo woke up. She poured some cereal and milk into a bowl for breakfast. She thought, yum, as she gobbled up her breakfast as fast as a cheetah. Echo walked outside, worried about what would happen when she told Zarya about not wanting to scare people. But she knew she had to do it. Once she got to Zarya's house, she looked up at the tall, rusty gates. I can do this, Echo told herself. She opened the gate and knocked on the door in front of her. Oh, hi, Echo. What do you want? Zarya said when she opened the door. Echo said, well, I need to explain something to you. Okay, come in. We can talk on my couch, Zarya answered. They walked into Zarya's house, which was covered in spider webs. Echo took a seat on the dark purple couch while Zarya grabbed something to drink. Once Zarya sat down, Echo started to talk. You see, I kind of have a problem, Echo started. I don't really like scaring people. In fact, I don't like it at all. It makes me feel so guilty when I see how I make people feel. I know you enjoy making people scared, but I don't. Also, I don't like it when you guys laugh at me and cut me off when I'm trying to talk. I'd still like to be friends, but I want you, Cackle, and Stormy to be a little nicer to me. Zarya's face turned as red as fire. No, we can't still be friends. You don't even like anything that I do anymore. Plus, I am plenty nice to you. You just always mess up with every little thing you do. That includes coming here and telling me that. If you hadn't come here, you would have still had friends. I mean, I have helped you so much. Where will you be without me? She shouted. Echo felt a little guilty, but mostly she felt as if a huge weight had been lifted off her chest. She realized now that her friendship with Zarya, Cackle, and Stormy had been so fake. She was grateful to now have Misty as a friend, because Misty had so much more in common with her, and she knew that Misty would be a much better friend. Back at her cave a few weeks later, Echo and Misty were creating funny potions together. Misty grabbed a powdery electric blue liquid from the shelf and poured it into the pot. Meanwhile, Echo grabbed a strawberry-colored liquid and poured that into the pot. "Okay, it's ready," Echo informed. Misty dunked a cup into the potion. While she pulled it out, it was filled with a speckled liquid. She brought the cup over to Echo's couch. "Are you ready, Echo?" she asked. "I sure am," exclaimed Echo. Misty tipped the cup over, causing the liquid to go all over the couch. She turned around to Echo. "Nothing happened," she said, disappointed. "Oink," came a sound from behind them. They turned around and saw that it was the couch. They had turned the couch into a pig. They laughed and laughed together until neither of them could breathe anymore. It was at that moment that Echo became positive that she had made the right decision about leaving her old friends for Misty.